Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Greg, and here I'm making a birdhouse, a little wren house. These are functional for the little birds, and they're quite beautiful when they're done. Here I'm working on the body of this one, just rounding it off. I do it in a stave design. I cut the segment pieces at about 4 inches long, and there are 12 to a body, and this is the body. It's hollow inside, of course, and I am just smoothing and putting a design in the outside. I made these two holders, which are just a couple of pieces of spruce 2x5s, and made them into cones so they fit into the ends. I still need to get some rubber pads or something to put on them because the body does slip as I'm working on it on the lathe sometimes, and it also is a little jumpy, so get a bit of tear out. Then again, I make the body of these out of old skid wood, so it's not the hardest of woods, and it can be a bit punky and dry. Here I'm just sanding it up now. You can see the tear out spots, but I will work on them and smooth it off. Do it again, but it being a birdhouse and it's going to hang outside, a little bit of rustic to it is all right as far as I'm concerned. To drill the hole for the birdies to get in, I just take it to my drill press after and drill an 1.1/8 hole, and then I drill a little hole where the perch will go underneath the entry hole. And of course I sand out the entry hole and add shine juice to keep it from deteriorating too quickly. I do not put anything on the inside for the birds to pick at, chew at. There is no shellac or lacquer, but it would be okay with shellac. Shellac is food friendly. The shine juice that I use is homemade. It is boiled linseed oil, shellac, and alcohol, and it is food safe. Many turners and such use shellac as a finish on food friendly products, such as salad bowls and cutting boards. Here I'm working on the bottom of the birdhouse. I do the birdhouses in pieces, and then I glue them all together. Usually the bottom, top, and the body. And then of course any finials or anything are done separately and glued into place. Here I'm just shaping the bottom. I've hollowed it out a bit. I put a little bit of a convex in the bottom. The birds don't mind that. I think they probably kind of like it for building their nest on. I don't know. I'm not a total expert on birds, but I have had little wrens living in my birdhouses, little warblers and such. The one tiny little bird last year, I was sitting out by the garden. I could hear this bird singing this beautiful, huge song, and here I look, it's this tiny little wren or whatever that was living in one of my birdhouses, and he's sitting out on top and he's just singing, and wow, what a song he had for a little bird. He was quite loud and beautiful. Here I'm turning it around. I've used the bottom mortise there to reattach it. Now I'll shape the outside of the top. I try to think up different patterns and designs. I don't have a actual pattern that I follow with these. It's all whatever comes to mind as I'm working on the project. As some people say, you have to let the wood talk to you and show you what it wants to be. Some sanding, and of course, I usually sand right up to 400 to 800 grit. On these birdhouses, usually about 400. Now I'm adding the sealer and sanding that sealer with and now I'm adding the shine juice. They do come out quite shiny, but probably being outside, they don't won't keep that shine for long. The sun and the weather will dull them up. Now here I'm working on the top. Again, I put a mortise in it so I can flip it around. But I'm also hollowing out the top to give the birdies a little more headroom in there. Plus, it reduces the weight. As you can see, I have a big block of Madeira on the top there. And the Madeira is quite hard and heavy. It was an end piece. You can see it's got some cracks and such in it. So I thought, well, it would be a good piece. Instead of throwing it in the scrap pile and burning it or whatever, I'll use it for the part of the birdhouse. I like to keep my smaller pieces of wood even with the cracks or the defects in them and find a place to use them. Hardwood is not cheap these days. We have a local uh, place here where I go and get my hardwoods. He's about the only place around that carries uh, the exotic hardwoods and such. But it's amazing. Sometimes I walk out with 4 3-foot or 4-foot boards, and I'm looking at nearly $100. Most of them are about 5 inches wide, 5.5 inches wide by 3/4 of an inch thick. Fortunately, this Madeira was actually given to me from my neighbors. He had it out in his barn where they had done a tear down somewhere, and he saved some of the boards. They've been sitting there for years. Like these boards are like 100 years old, and they are hard and dry. But boy, when you get inside, there's some beautiful grain and color to them. Outside, they don't look like much. Now here I'm working on the different finials. This piece I believe was going to be the perch, and here I used no, actually this is the knob for the top, and I believe it was a piece of walnut. That I had cut off one of the boards, and it's about the size of a pen blank. I'll make the knob on the top of this and then save the piece again. I'm going to make a wooden knob to fix to the top of the birdhouse and drill a hole through it for a rope. Here I'm just shining it up. I like to use different woods, contrast in color and grains. To have these hanging in your garden definitely adds to the decor and the beauty of the garden. I don't think the birds really care how fancy they are or how nice they look, but us being humans, we like our things to be nice. We like our garden to look good and our backyard to look beautiful. Not many of us just let nature take its course in our garden and backyard. And if we do, the neighbors around us soon say something. This is the perch for the birdie now. Again, I think I made this out of walnut. I leave that little dowel piece at the end, and I use that to glue it into the hole. And I make it as close as I can to the size of my drill bit. So it fits snug. Sometimes if it's too snug, I just sand it down a little bit so it fits. And this is another piece of Madeira, and I'm taking it down to be a finial for the bottom. Decorative piece to the birdhouse. When it hangs from the bottom, I don't know if it's still called a finial, but I'll call it a finial because I don't know another term for it. But as I got into this piece, see that knot right there? I didn't really notice that in the piece of the board. As you can see, it was very rough looking, very gray, very weathered. And when I started to get in there, I seen that knot. And if you watch, as I take it down, suddenly the knot pops out. But I think, again, being a birdhouse, that just adds character and beauty to it. A little bit rustic. Who knows? The little birds might use that to grab a hold of and have a look around and hang there. Now we'll sand it up and get it sealed. And there it is, the final product. Now I don't have an Etsy store or anything like that. I do try to promote on Facebook a little bit, but if you're interested in making a purchase from me or would like me to make something for you, you can contact me at oldguywoodworks@hotmail.com, that email that is on the screen there. And or if you have any questions. I do try to sell my pieces and have sold some locally. But here are the glamour shots. Thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, and share. It will help my channel immensely. Have a great day.